July the 5th, 2021. Guys, you're looking at satellite images over the Gulf of Mexico, and this is the most impressive that I've seen this storm as far as the way it's wrapped up, and you can see the outer bands going. It's over land now in Cuba, and I think a steering current that you see, this front that's moving across the Gulf states here, will affect exactly where the storm goes. We're not sure yet. We'll look at the projected models, but this is the most impressive that I've seen this storm since it started forming in the Atlantic Ocean. Now, it's down to about 55 miles an hour now because it's dead set over land. But you can tell by those outer bands that it is sensing that warmer water. Now, all of the models show it going up the left side of Florida into the Gulf of Mexico itself and then entering back across Florida, somewhere up around the Big Bend north of Tampa. Now, it depends on the strength of this front. Now, there's always some factors in the last day or two, and you notice how this thing is pushing northeast, and that will affect the steering. And it's stirring up weather all along the coast. Look at Texas. You guys have been getting it for a couple of days. But really, it's something that we all need. Now, this has changed somewhat. Down into the Keys, 1 to 2 foot storm surge. But when you get up into the Big Bend, this 3 to 5 foot, guys, that starts becoming serious. And in the bays from Bonita Beach up to Tampa Bay, you're 2 to 4 feet. But once you get in Tampa Bay, 3 to 5 feet, because it's like a funnel that's being, everything's being pushed into it. But here, we're over land, and it's saying it's 50 miles an hour. It's at a 100 or 1,008 millibars. It's moving northwest at 14 miles an hour. Now, just pay very close attention to this track. Now, notice Tuesday at 2 a.m. Guys, that's in the morning, 2 hours. That's tonight after midnight, 2 hours. It's supposed to be back up to 60 miles an hour. And look at where it's at. It's kind of lined up with the Keys, the Dry Tortugas. Then Tuesday at 2 p.m. tomorrow afternoon, it's back up to 65 miles an hour. But you saw the form of the storm. It's really getting itself together, so I'm not going to put it past becoming a Cat 1 hurricane. All the models now are showing pretty much going back up north of Tampa or into Tampa. There's a few that are right here where I'm putting the yellow arrows, and because of that track, it's kind of making a hard north track now, and we've got that front that's sweeping out of Texas across the Gulf states. Don't be surprised if it cuts inland just a little early. Not saying that I'm 100% sure that's going to happen, but just don't be surprised. And don't be surprised that it may strengthen. They're saying it's going to get back up to 65 miles an hour. So you're 9 miles an hour below a Cat 1. You got tropical storm watches in the blue, tropical storm warnings that encompass everywhere from right here, which is in the Keys. This is the southernmost point in the continental United States. Been watching this kind of a few days, and you can tell now that the seas are not as calm as they were, and a little higher waves. And this is again the Harborside Motel. All of these are in Key West. But guys, if you've ever been in the hurricanes or been in a boat before a storm, you can tell by the water. And what it is, you've got high or low pressure points across the ocean, and it can really become kind of out of whack very quickly. But that's what you're dealing with now as you look again into Key West, guys, starting to get dark. And this is Mallory Square, and sometimes you'll see the big cruise ships pull in here, but you can look at the horizon south, and you can see what's coming. Now, I'm not saying this is going to be a major hurricane, guys, but that's a very well-formed storm right now. And as soon as it clears land, there's nothing to stop it till it comes back ashore. And it's going to cross, if you remember the video earlier, that the Gulf Stream is between it comes through the Florida Straits between Cuba and here in the Florida Keys, Key West. So there's a lot of possibility for this thing to at least get back to a Cat 1. And remember this, tornadoes. even in a strong tropical storm, they can be devastating. But I wanted to come in, again, it's been a long, hot day, and just look for myself. And really, that's how I started doing these videos. I just started recording the research that I had been doing for years and watching these things. In 1964, I was in my first hurricane in the 4th grade, and down in Buras, Louisiana. And that's down where you see a lot of the swamp people videos. And we were involved in that. I remember being 9 years old, catching 7-foot alligator gar on the hand line. So I've been around, I've seen it, and that's why, and I've watched it my entire life. I went from that, it was Hurricane Betsy, then we saw Camille, then Katrina years later. You know, it's been 15 years now since Katrina. It devastated us here, no water, no power for 2 weeks. And if you don't think you can figure out that you don't need to be real dependent on the outside world, go through something like that. And when a hurricane comes in, especially with Katrina, and you have no power for air conditioning or anything like that, no water, there was no gas, you had to travel to another city to buy food, guys, because there was no electricity. And we were 120 miles inland. Think of the strength of that. But there was no electricity to run the cash registers or the gas pumps. So you had to go out of town and get in mile-long lines just to get a little fuel and some food. That'll never happen again to most of the people that went through Katrina. They know better. But guys, I just wanted to come in and let you know, and I just will end with this. It's the best I've seen this formation of this storm yet. So please do not let your guard down on it. I will be watching it, and if it needs updating later tonight, I'll do it. If not, it will be first thing in the morning. But be prepared. Do you have your enough gas in your vehicles? Fill them up, because you can always, if you have to, if you have a backup generator, you can siphon out of those tanks. So you got 2 storage tanks, or if you need to bug out, or if just to get to work and back for a week, if you get knocked out of power till they rebuild some power lines, you're not caught off guard. Water, food, batteries, flashlights. But anyway, guys, hope everyone's had a great weekend going into the 4th. I know a lot of people are still off, so just drive safe as you go home and pay attention to the storm. It's a heads up. Be safe.